The sun filtered through the sheer curtains of Dr. Simon's office, casting a soft glow that seemed almost mocking in its brightness. Anna sat rigidly in the cushioned chair, her light blue maxi skirt pulled around her. Her hands, clenched in the fabric, betrayed the turmoil she felt inside. The room, usually a place of hopes and dreams for many couples, felt like a cage to her. Dr. Simon, a middle-aged man with a kind but somber expression, cleared his throat. "I'm very sorry, Anna and James," he began, his voice steady yet empathetic. "The results from the tests are conclusive." He paused, glancing at the papers before him as if they could somehow soften the blow. "It appears that the issues preventing conception are solely related to Anna's fertility levels." Anna's heart sank with each clinical word that escaped Dr. Simon's lips. She knew this moment could come, had feared it even, but the reality was far more crushing than she had imagined. It was one thing to anticipate bad news, quite another to hear it confirmed. James, sitting beside her, had his jaw set, his face a mask of stoic acceptance. When the doctor had started explaining the specifics, terms like endometrial complications and ovarian insufficiency, James had simply nodded, his hand initially resting on Anna's arm in a silent vow of support. Anna couldn't bear to look at him. She feared seeing blame or disappointment in his eyes, though he had never given her reason to expect either. Instead, she stared down, her vision blurring with unshed tears. "And while there are options available, such as fertility treatments or IVF, I must be honest about their invasiveness and cost," Dr. Simon continued, his tone gentle. "These paths can be physically and emotionally demanding and often come with no guarantees." Anna felt James's gaze on her, gentle and questioning, but she wasn't ready to meet it. She was trapped in a whirlwind of self-reproach, her mind replaying every moment leading up to this. How could she face James knowing she was the reason their shared dream of a family was crumbling? It was James who had to help her stand and lead her to the car. Only after she sat down in the passenger seat did James clear his throat and finally speak to her. "Did you hear the doctor?" Anna blinked. "I tuned out after he said it was my fault." "He didn't say it was your fault," James said, but the tone in his voice made it sound like he blamed her. She didn't say anything, choosing to just make herself as small as possible. Her eyes remained focused out the window, not a word spoken between her and James. Things were very tense in the car. It was so thick you could cut it with a knife. This seemed to be the final nail in the coffin. Everything was okay until it wasn't. It started well before they started to try for kids, only to be disappointed when every month her period came. When the car came to a stop, Anna looked out the window. They are home now, and she sighed with relief. Not a word was spoken between them. Anna wanted to say something, but she didn't know what to say to him that would make any of this better. It wasn't always like this. There was a time when things were good between the two of them, something Anna wished was still the case. Before she met James, Anna spent a lot of time focused on work. She wanted kids and a husband, but hadn't found the right time yet. Most of her days were at the publishing company she inherited from her father. He had built the business from the ground up. As his only child, it was expected Anna would take over. She was essentially groomed from a young age to take over the business. Once he retired, Anna gladly stepped into his shoes. It was a bit nerve-wracking, but Anna did her best to prove that while she was given this position by her dad, she deserved it. In time, the people who worked for the company began to respect her as much as they did her father. She wasn't expecting to meet anyone, but one day she bumped into James. It was the typical run into someone while out getting coffee rom-com scenario. At first, Anna told James she wasn't interested because she wanted to focus on work, but James kept pursuing her. He said he didn't mind taking it slow or just being her friend. As long as she was in his life, that was all that mattered to him. It was safe to say he ended up sweeping Anna off her feet. She tried not to fall too hard, but never had a man made her like this before. He made it seem like Anna was the only woman in the world. There was no one else. After pushing him away, Anna decided to take the plunge and accept a date with him. She made sure that he understood it was one date. James just nodded, smiling. He seemed confident that she would want to go on another date with him. And he was right. Anna did want to go on another day with him. She went on one date, followed by another and another. Before Anna knew it, she was falling in love with James. There was no going back once that happened. They tied the knot, and for a few years, everything was great. It was hard to say when things started to go south. Maybe after the honeymoon period started to wear off. She couldn't say what it was. But it felt like things were lacking between her and James the longer their marriage went on. And the news that they wouldn't be able to make a child together was just the latest blow in a crap storm that kept hitting them. Day after day, week after week. After learning the news from the doctor, things did get a little better, but there was still this awkwardness that she didn't know how to bridge. Anna was at a loss, trying to figure out what she could do. In the end, Anna decided to plan a 2-week romantic cruise for the two of them. They hadn't gone on a vacation in a long time. The last time they were on a vacation was about a year ago. The vacation saw them going to Hawaii and it was nice. But it was cut short because of an emergency with James's place of work. However, this time, they would be on a cruise ship. It wasn't like they could easily turn around and get back home. She bit her bottom lip, looking at all the cruises available. Anna hoped she could find the perfect one. It needed to scream romance because the two of them were in desperate need of romance. The cruise she decided on was a princess cruise that started in Florida and went around some islands in the Caribbean. They went to a Caribbean island for their honeymoon, which was an amazing experience. Anna almost felt the urge to dig out the photo album. There are dozens upon dozens of pictures highlighting a happier time. She and James frolicking on the beach, wrapped in each other's arms, looking at one another as if they were deeply in love. They were once. Anna wished she knew what happened. She didn't want to give up on the marriage. It was important to try to stick it out and not divorce unless one could say that they did give it their all. Anna's parents didn't bother to stick it out. Her mother just divorced her father, leaving them in the dust. But she didn't want to do that until she tried. Surprising her husband with a cruise was going to be tricky, but she knew he had a lot of vacation time at his job. It wouldn't be difficult for him to take 2 or so weeks off. The same applied to her. As the boss, Anna could take as much time as she wanted off, and not have to put time in, so to speak. Once Anna was done purchasing the tickets to the cruise, she smiled to herself. It was a few weeks later she did tell James about the cruise, but his reaction was not what she expected. "You bought tickets to a cruise without asking me?" Anna winced. "I thought it would be romantic." "Well, you've bothered to buy the tickets, so I guess we'll go." He didn't sound very excited, but Anna brushed it off. She made the mistake of not telling him, so this was on her. "I'll make sure to run it by you next time," she said apologetically, trying her best to force a smile. Anna didn't want to make a big deal out of his reaction and show how upset she was getting. It might have made James go on the defensive. The next day, James changed his tune. He seemed a lot happier than the other day, and she had no idea what had changed in him, but Anna felt like she had her old husband back. Then everything seemed to go to hell all at once. It happened accidentally. Anna was making dinner for her husband and the in-laws when she realized she had left one of the bags of groceries in the car. So she went out to retrieve the bag, walking through the garage. She heard a bunch of whispering from the side of the garage, near the backyard. Anna frowned, realizing that it was her in-laws, and they were talking about her. To make it worse, James was out there with them. "It was a mistake to ever marry that woman," Paige, Anna's mother-in-law, hissed. "I thought that marrying into such a well-to-do family would help elevate you and our family. But what is the point if she can't carry on the family name?" Anna's heart dropped. She couldn't believe what she was hearing right now. They implied, well, more than implied, that James only married her for her reputation and money. "Your mother is right, James," her father-in-law Philip muttered. "If you stay married to her, it's only going to ruin you. What you need is to marry someone younger who can give you a child and not stay with some barren woman." She blinked back tears, but she didn't move. Anna wanted to hear this. More than that, she needed to hear it. To have the wool removed from over her eyes, it was necessary to listen to these 3 people talk about her. Once Anna thought her in-laws were fond of her to an extent. That image had been destroyed. I already have someone else in mind. Her name is Emma. She's crazy about me and can't wait to take the next step. Anna knew that name. That was a co-worker James worked with, and the first time she saw her, she was struck by how young and beautiful she was. Of course, he would have an affair with her. And you can't divorce her, James. Then she'll take all the money and we'll be left destitute. James growled. Mum, do you think I'm stupid? I don't plan to divorce her, so don't worry. This cruise we're going on is the perfect chance for my barren wife to have an accident. It was the best gift she could have given to us. She stepped away, unable to hear anymore. Her husband, the man she thought loved her, wanted her dead. He wanted to get rid of her and use that money to run off into the sunset with that young floozy he was cheating on her with. Anna didn't know how she was going to get through this dinner with a straight face. Honestly, she didn't think she would be able to. Rushing back inside, Anna turned off the stove. She texted James to say there was a sudden emergency at work and they could order out at any place they wanted. Her treat. This would be sure to butter them up. Her car was parked out front, so she hurried and got in the car. James texted her back, asking if everything was okay. It took everything in her to just give him a smiley face and a thumbs up. Before Anna could go back home, she needed to get a hold of herself. If she didn't, then she was going to break down and accuse James of something. This might have made him lash out, hurting her sooner than planned. There was no proof, just Anna's word against his. She wished she had recorded the conversation, but she was in such shock that all she could do was stand there and listen as her world crashed down around her. It seemed like this wasn't reality. However, it was. Anna reached up to pinch her cheek and it hurt a lot. For a while, all Anna did was drive around aimlessly. She couldn't go back home, but she didn't want to go to the office either and have those who were still there see her like this. It made sense James wanted to kill her rather than divorce her. He'd get all her money and the business she inherited from her father. But if James divorced her, then he would get nothing. Why would he divorce her when he could get rid of her? The prenup further specified that what was hers, and was his before the marriage. She had been told many times by her father that a prenup was necessary if she were to get married. Anna decided that she was going to make sure whoever she married signed one. If they didn't, then there was no wedding. James didn't seem upset when he signed the prenup, but had it all been an act? She had no idea what was real or what was a front. Deciding to book them on a cruise was the worst decision she ever made. It gave James a chance to take her life. All he had to do was say she fell overboard. This made things too easy for him. Anna was not, under any circumstances, going to let him get away with this. The more Anna drove around, the angrier she became. She blamed herself for not being able to give her husband a biological child when he was going behind her back. Not only did he cheat on her, but he was planning her murder with his parents. It scared her, yes, but Anna was angrier and more determined than ever to make sure that James would never see another dime. This marriage was going to be over, but it would be on her terms. However, how she was going to do this was a mystery. When the sun started to set, Anna finally drove back home. Her in-laws were gone and she heard James in his study, likely not doing any work. He was probably just playing video games. "James, I'm home," Anna called out, trying to act as normal as possible. James didn't respond. She sighed, sending him a text. He didn't ask her if anything was wrong and just said, "Okay." To sleep beside this man tonight scared the crap out of her, but Anna had to pretend things were all right. If she didn't then, he might snap and try to hurt her now. Anna got ready for bed slowly that night. She kept staring at her reflection in the mirror, torn between crying and calling herself an idiot. How could she let herself get drawn into this man and never realize anything was wrong? This was why Anna always felt there was something off in the marriage. Once the rose-coloured glasses were taken off, Anna felt something strange there, but she was never to put her finger on it until now. Did he ever love her? Probably not. James likely saw her as an easy way for him to get access to millions and millions of dollars without having to work for it themselves. Yes, he did work, and they had their separate accounts, but Anna had no problem giving James money. He was her husband after all. Saying the word husband filled her with a bitter feeling. She scowled at her reflection in the mirror, resisting the urge to put her first through the mirror. The blue-eyed woman with long, wavy brown hair staring back at her looked tired of this whole sham of a marriage and trying to make something work that was beyond saving. Anna needed to get a grip. Getting angry at herself wasn't going to help matters. It was just going to make Anna spiral more and more into insanity. She laid down in bed, but was unable to sleep. It was likely that James wasn't even going to come up tonight and would fall asleep playing video games in his study. This was what he usually did when she found him there after dinner. Normally, Anna would go into the study and try to talk James into coming up into bed. But now, that was the last thing she wanted to do. She wanted him as far away from her as possible. It was the only way to guarantee she would live to see another day. What could she do? Anna was still racking her brain trying to figure out what she was going to do. Her father's legacy would never go to James. This was something she was going to make sure happened, no matter what. It was the next day Anna was finally able to figure out what she wanted to do. She needed to sleep on it, but the moment she opened her eyes, it hit her wondering what she could do. First and foremost, Anna needed to get all those properties and items that she had put in James's name back in just hers. They were originally hers, so she was able to do that. Then she needed to go to her lawyer, whom she had on retainer to get the divorce proceedings rolling. The only thing Anna planned to let James keep was the actual house. She bought that house outright once they were married, and to be honest, she wanted nothing to do with it. It would only remind her of her sham of a marriage. She got to the notary bright and early. When she stopped at her lawyer's office, Gina seemed shocked that she walked right in there, sat down, and asked for a divorce. "I can't believe what I'm hearing." Anna lifted a brow. "Why? Is it so hard to believe that I want a divorce? I just thought it would never happen." "What do you mean, Gina?" Gina was not just her lawyer, she was also her friend. A good friend who always told her like it was. Well, normally. And now she was getting the feeling that Gina wasn't telling her everything or hadn't been. "Okay, so I've never liked James. Which you know, but I hate him passionately, Anna. He was never good enough for you, but he made you so happy that I didn't want to take that away." She smiled bitterly. "Well, he's cheating on me, so I've decided it's time for me to get out, which is why I want to get this divorce process going." Gina grinned. "You don't know how happy that makes me feel, Anna." "I wish you had told me about James before. Would you have listened?" Anna bit down on her bottom lip. "I like to think I would have listened, but I was so blinded by love that I probably wouldn't even listen. Chances are I may have pushed you away." "Which was why I didn't say anything, because I didn't want you to push me away. I needed to remain in your life in some capacity, so when things went badly, then I'd be there to help." She sniffed. "Gina, you don't know how happy that makes me to hear. Thank you." It was good that she had a reminder that there were people out there who cared. After learning that her husband wanted to kill her, Anna desperately needed something out there to know there was still hope in the world. But, as much as it was nice to know she had a good friend in Gina, Anna realized she had to do something more drastic. She had to vanish. Anna was going to leave without talking to James. She would leave him and the in-laws a video message explaining what she was doing. Let him go on and be with that woman he was cheating on her with. Thinking about James now made her feel numb. No longer did Anna feel that deep love for him she once thought she held. Hearing that conversation had made the illusion vanish, so now she realized what they had wasn't a marriage. It was a sham of a marriage. She wished she realized it was a sham of a marriage long before this moment, but what was done was done. Leaving without telling anyone where she was going, was the best thing to do right now. This would ensure her safety. When she left Gina's office, Anna decided it was time to get the ball rolling. She set her phone up, pressing the record function. Hello, James, Paige, and Philip. I'm leaving this message for all of you to say that I am leaving. James, this marriage is done. I know that you're cheating on me, so you can go ahead and be with that woman child really because she's half your age. You're having an affair with. If you try to drag out the divorce, then so be it, but you're not going to get a damn thing. I've already signed the properties back over to me. Feel free to keep the house, though. It's full of nothing but lies. The video was done in one take. Anna had practiced earlier, trying to think of the best thing she could say to get the point across. It was delivered in a cold, calm voice. She wanted James to think that she wasn't hurting, that she was strong. On the inside, she felt like she was rotting away, but this would be only temporary. Anna was determined to move on with her life somehow and put James in the metaphorical rearview mirror. With the message recorded, Anna went to her office. She went into the office of the second command, Grace, who looked confused because she usually didn't come in on this day. Anna, is something wrong? Anna smiled. I'm getting a divorce and need to get away for a while, so for the foreseeable future, the business is in your hands. I'm only a phone call, text, or email away, but the day-to-day operations will be handled by you. She gaped. What? I don't know what to say. Say you'll do it, Anna teased. Of course I'll do it, Grace blurted out. But wait, did you say you were getting divorced? Yes, and I don't wish to discuss it any further. Please respect that. Grace nodded. Of course, Anna. I wish you luck and I'll keep you updated weekly since you probably won't be completely hands-off. True, Anna said, giving her a small smile. But for the most part, Grace was going to be in charge and Anna was okay with that. She sent the message to James and her in-laws later that day. Anna then checked into a hotel blocking their numbers. If James wanted to contact her, then he would have to go through to her lawyer, who would then send the message to her. There was no way they were going to be in contact with one other under any circumstances. The hotel was only temporary. Anna just needed to stay here until she was able to figure something out for herself. It was hard to say what she wanted to do. Her life had been planned out until now, but with James and her getting divorced, she needed a new plan. A few days and Anna finally realized what she wanted to do. She was going to buy a home in the middle of nowhere, fix it up, and live there. To some, it might seem like something out of the blue, but it wasn't. When Anna's father was getting sick, he told her of a dream he once had. He wanted to retire to a farmhouse in the country and just enjoy the rest of his days in solitude. But he passed before he had a chance to chase that retirement dream. Now, as a favor to her father, Anna felt like she should do this. But it was also for herself. She wanted to be somewhere where no one knew her. A place where she would be able to heal. This was all Anna wanted to do with her life for the foreseeable future. She searched and searched until he found this perfect, abandoned farm about a 2-hour drive away. It was virtually in the middle of nowhere with the closest neighbor a 10-minute walk away. The house, from the pictures at least, had seen better days, but Anna didn't care. There was enough money to fix it up and transform it into something amazing. Anna first set up the rebuilding of the building and the farm itself. She started by hiring a construction company to get the ball rolling. It was a few more days before she was able to get there because she wanted to make sure there was enough fixed up so she could sleep there. It would be her first look at the place in person. Her stomach was flip-flopping with excitement and nervousness. She was still thrown for a loop by the end of her marriage and the fact that it had come to such a wicked end. How had she not seen it before? The thoughts still haunted her. Anna couldn't even find solace in sleep. These nightmares would hit, making her wake up drenched in sweat. It was terrifying to think that her husband could have killed her. It was usually where her dreams went. James would kill her in different ways, a smirk on his face. Of course, he was happy. He was finally going to get that money that he desperately wanted. This was why Anna was trying to get out of the city. She had to get the heck out of here, and that was what she was doing today. Today, Anna's stuff was being brought to the farm while she waited for her driver to arrive. The one that showed up was one that she had a few times before, but they had never spoken very much. After racking her brain, Anna remembered his name was Danny. When he showed up and pulled up at the corner, he smiled at her. "Hello, Mrs. "Just Anna," she blurted out, not wanting to hear her soon-to-be ex-husband's last name. It would just be a reminder of what she was trying to run from. "Well, I'm Danny." "I know," Anna said with a smile. "You've driven me to and from work a few times." "Usually drive some of your other executives." The man flashed her a smile. He had beautiful blue eyes that drew her in with curly blonde hair she wanted to run her fines through. Danny looked to be around her age, not that it mattered. She shouldn't be thinking of this right now. He was just a nice man who was hired to be a driver. "So you bought a farm?" Danny asked as they pulled onto the highway. Anna smiled. "I wanted to get away from the city, and this seemed like the best way to do it." "I live near the farm you bought," Danny admitted with a grin. Her eyes widened. "Really?" "Yes, I live on my grandmother's farm. Ironic that you bought a farm just minutes from her place." "How long has that farm been for sale?" Danny shrugged. "A long time. It's nice to see someone has finally purchased it. I look forward to seeing what you produce. Drove by it earlier, and it seems to be coming along." "Still a long way to go," Anna pointed out with a soft smile. She leaned her head against the car window and started to doze off. Anna had been running on fumes for a while now. All she could think about was putting as much distance between her and her husband, James, as possible. Gina had forwarded her some of the messages James and her in-laws had sent her. Some of them were fine, while others were unhinged. James couldn't understand why she wanted to divorce him like this and wouldn't even talk things out. The audacity of that man was insane. She couldn't believe he was trying to pretend nothing was wrong when she knew he was cheating. Anna had made sure not to mention anything about their apparent murder plot. There would be an unmarked car at the farm at all times. She had hired a bodyguard company who would keep an eye on her and make sure that nothing happened while she was staying at the farm. This was just to ensure that nothing would happen to Anna. She didn't think it would, but it didn't hurt to be on the safe side. "Nothing like fixing up a place, though," Danny says wistfully. Anna laughed. "Those were my thoughts exactly." It was a long drive, so Anna had little to do but talk with her driver, Danny. Not that she minded. He was a very nice man, she came to find out, and wished they had spoken to each other a little more than before. He mentioned that he used to be in the military, something he did right out of high school. Anna had to admire that. At such a young age, no matter his reasons, he signed up to fight for his country if necessary. But a few years ago, Danny was injured in combat. Anna noticed that he didn't elaborate too much on that fact. It must still be hard for him to talk about something she understood. There were things she didn't like to talk about either. Once he was honorably discharged, Danny moved in with his grandmother. She was aging and needed some help anyway, so it made sense to move in with her. But to help pay the bills, he also got a job driving for the company that Anna contracted out to drive her and some other employees around. When they pulled up to the house, Anna blinked. They got here quicker than she thought they would. "We're here. What do you think?" Anna couldn't help but smile when she saw the state of the house. It was still a mess, but the mess looked like it was starting to come together. "It's starting to look a bit like a home," he laughed. "My thoughts exactly." She started to reach for the car door, but Danny made a loud noise, catching her off guard. "No, let me." "Danny, it's fine." "Anna, it's my job. Let me do it." He said it firmly but also gently. Anna sighed, deciding to humor him this time around. Danny insisted on walking her up to the house and bringing her suitcases inside. She turned to Danny, flashing him a soft smile. "Thank you, Danny. If you need anything, I'm just a short drive away." "Well, I'll have a car here tomorrow," Danny smiled. "That just means you won't need me to drive you around. It doesn't mean I can't still assist you in other ways." She didn't know why, but the way he was smiling at her made her blush. Anna cleared her throat, taking out her phone. Do you have a number I can reach you? You know, in case I do need any of that help you're offering. Danny repeated his number to her, smiling the entire time. See you soon, Anna. The way he said this almost made it sound like he was hopeful that she would reach out to him again. Anna was tempted, but she wasn't. She moved out here to get away and to live in solitude. The last thing she needed was to bring anyone new into her inner circle, especially a man she barely knew. Anna was still reeling from the fact that her husband wanted to kill her. It continued to keep her up at night, but at least out here, in the middle of nowhere, it made it easier to sleep. One would think it would fill Anna with more anxiety, but that was the exact opposite. It made her feel safe to put as much distance between her and James as possible. With the guard posted outside the house, Anna knew she would be safe. The house truly did need a lot of TLC, but Anna was happy about that. She wanted something that would keep her busy and distracted. This was the most important thing in her mind. A part of her was determined not to reach out to Danny. He seemed like a nice guy who wanted to help, but he did say he was taking care of her grandmother. She didn't want to take him away from a vulnerable elderly woman who needed his assistance. But then there was a plumbing issue. Anna was trying not to go into the city at all, meaning she was having a lot of things delivered. So she ordered the parts and waited for the plumber to arrive. The parts came, but the plumber did not. Reluctantly, she dialed Danny's number. He picked it up instantly. Anna, I was wondering when you would call. She laughed softly. Hello, Danny. You're not busy, are you? No. Grandma is settled in the living room, eating lunch, and will be dozing in her chair soon. What do you need? Anna explained the situation as best she could. As soon as she was done, Danny said he'd be there and hung up. He showed up moments later carrying some tools. Lead the way, Danny said, grinning. The problem was taken care of very quickly. To thank him, Anna cooked some food in her now working kitchen and drove to his home. She hoped he was home, feeling bad about just stopping there with no warning. Anna didn't even have to knock when, all of a sudden, Danny opened the door. In a moment of panic, she held up the food she'd put in several containers. I made you and your grandma something to eat, and I'm just realizing that I never asked if you two had any dietary restrictions. Danny shook his head. No, we don't. Thank God. He took the food and smiled. Anna, this is nice of you. Consider it thanks for coming over to fix my plumbing on such short notice. Why don't you come in and eat it with us? Anna hesitated. No, it's all right. The lady's coming in to join us, right? I won't stand for it if she doesn't at least sit down for a few bites. When Anna heard Danny's grandmother Thea shout from the other room, she laughed. Okay, I'll stay. No one can say no to Grandma, Danny joked. Anytime Anna needed help, she called Danny. Then she would bring him some food, whether it be dinner or some dessert that she had baked. Sometimes Anna would join them, but other times she wouldn't because she had to get back to the house. It became clear to Anna that after a few months she was starting to grow fond of Danny. This felt different from how she felt when she thought she was falling for James. Back then, it felt like Anna had to do it. He kept pursuing her, so why not give a guy who cared about her a chance? That wasn't right. Anna should have been firm, and James should have taken her first rejection as an answer and not a negotiation. Danny wasn't like that. He was just genuinely nice, not expecting anything out of it. At no point did Danny make any sort of romantic gesture. It was hard to say if he felt anything like that toward her. As far as Anna knew, this could be all in her head and one-sided. She wanted to say something, to make it clear how she felt about him. But Anna decided to wait so she could be sure that this was real. Where did you learn to cook? Danny asked one evening when she brought over some cookies to thank him for another job well done at the farm. I learned it on my own, actually, Anna admitted sheepishly. Dad spent a lot of time working, and I didn't like the babysitter's food, so I thought, why not make my own? That is very charming. She ducked her head, hoping that he didn't see her blush. The last thing she wanted was for Danny to notice she was blushing. I was a very determined child. Well, look where it got you, CEO to a company. Anna bit down on her bottom lip. Some people think I don't deserve the position because my dad used to be the head of the company, so I made sure that I proved myself. People are always going to judge you for even the smallest thing. The best thing you can do is just stop letting other people get to you. Easier said than done, I know. I'll try, Anna said. Danny smiled. That's all that matters. She was falling for the guy. It was getting to the point where Anna wanted to make her feelings for him known. Or at least make it obvious she was interested. Some people weren't always aware that someone was trying to pursue them. Either you continued to be subtle about it, or made it very obvious. The problem was Anna felt scared. She opened her heart up to someone once, and it backfired to the point where it nearly cost her her life. Speaking of James, she hadn't spoken to him since the last night she was in the house. He continued to reach out to Gina, each message more unhinged than the last. But Anna was going to continue to move forward. There was no way she wasn't going to divorce James. Why would Anna want to stay with someone who wanted her dead? That made no sense. She had more respect than that for herself, and, most importantly, didn't want to die. Not like that, anyway. It ended up getting to the point where Anna knew she had to make a move on Danny. She wanted to make her interest known. If he ended up rejecting her, then so be it, but Anna was fine with that. All that mattered was that she took a chance. But those feelings took a back seat when Danny reached out to her asking for some help. Hey, Anna. I hope I'm not taking you from anything, am I? No, not at all. Is something wrong? I have a sudden emergency in the city and don't want to leave Grandma right now because she's not feeling well. Do you think you could watch her for a while? Yes, Anna blurted out. He sighed in relief. Thank you, Anna. I'll be there soon, okay? Danny attempted to thank her again, but Anna laughed and told him that she needed to go so she could get to him on time. She got there within the next 10 minutes. As soon as she got there, Danny left, leaving her with Thea. Come sit, Thea said, smiling at her. I appreciate you coming out here to look over me, but it wasn't necessary. All I had was a small cold, which I have gotten over. But my dear Danny worries way too much. Frankly, I am sick of being in this house. An idea hit Anna. She smiled and turned to Thea. How about we take a short trip to my farm so you can see how it's coming along? Thea's eyes twinkled in amusement. Oh, I'd love that. Let's go. She helped Thea out of the house and to the car. Before leaving, she sent Danny a text to let him know that Thea was at the farmhouse. A part of Anna wondered if she was overstepping her boundaries. What if he grew cross with her for taking his grandmother out when she was still recovering? Yes. Thea made it clear she felt better, but this was Danny's grandmother and not hers. Despite these reservations, she continued on the way to the farm. The first time Thea saw it, she looked so happy and a bit teary-eyed. She talked about how she remembered the last people that had lived here. It was nice to see that the farm was starting to return to its former glory. Yes, there was still a long way to go, but it was getting there. The evening sun dipped low. The porch, with its creaky wooden planks and faded rocking chairs, served as a front-row seat to this quiet spectacle. Thea's voice was soft but tinged with worry. Danny's been my rock, you know. Ever since his parents passed, he's put his whole life on hold. Thinks he can't have a life of his own without neglecting me. She sighed, her hands fidgeting with the edges of her blanket. It's a kind thing, but it eats at me. Anna nodded, her eyes tracing the flight of a lone bird against the orange sky. He sounds like a wonderful man, sacrificing so much. Yes, but at what cost? Thea's brows furrowed. He's young. He should be out there, finding someone special, building a life. Her voice dropped to a whisper. I think he's scared, Anna, scared that love will pull him away and scared to be hurt again. Eventually, Anna drove Thea back to the house. It wasn't more than a half-hour later that Danny came back. Hi, Anna said with a nervous smile. Then she continued before he could say anything. I'm sorry for overstepping my boundaries and taking Thea out. I hope you are not angry, but she seemed like she wanted to get out. Danny blinked and held up his hand. Anna, you don't have anything to apologize for. I realize I can be pretty overprotective with my grandmother. The fact that you were nice enough to take her out and spend time with her there means a lot to me." She let out a breath she didn't realize she was holding. "I am so happy to hear you say that. This whole time I was thinking I overstepped my boundaries or something." He laughed. "You worry too much, Anna." "I do," she admits with a weak laugh. Anna knew she had to get home, but she wanted to finally get something off her chest. She cleared her throat and smiled at Danny. "Are you getting ready to leave?" he asked. "Yes, but do you think we could speak for a moment outside on the porch?" He nodded. "Of course." Once they were on the porch, Anna felt her stomach start to flip-flop. "Danny, I've grown to care about you a lot over the past few months, and I want you to know this. It's something I needed to get off my chest, even if you don't feel the same way. If you don't, I understand. But I want you to know I can't stop thinking about you." For a while, Danny didn't say anything. Anna started to suspect the worst, but then Danny smiled softly. "I must be the densest man in the world because I had no idea," he admitted. "This whole time, I convinced myself you couldn't feel the same way, so I decided just to push those feelings aside and lock them away." Anna leaned forward, closing the distance between them and placing her lips over his. He stood there in shock before his hands slipped around her waist to hold her close. When they parted, the two of them smiled at each other. "Well, that was a nice surprise." From inside, Thea howled with laughter. "It's about time you two got off your duffs. I was starting to think I was going to have to play matchmaker." Both of them burst out laughing. "So do you want to come over tomorrow for dinner?" Anna asked with a smile. "I understand you have Thea to think about." "I'll be fine, Danny. Have dinner," Thea shouted again. Danny shook his head in disbelief. "Yes, I'd love it too. I can stop by around 7. "That sounds great." From there, a romance started to bloom between them. Anna was nervous, trying not to make any mistakes, but she also wanted to be sure she wasn't rushing into this so quickly. When James finally signed the papers, Anna sat Danny down and decided it was time to explain the situation to him. He seemed shocked to learn that this man had so brazenly tried to plan her murder and then angry that he essentially got away with it. "I've made peace with it, Danny." Danny swallowed. "Well, as long as I am around, he's not going to lay a finger on you should he ever decide to show his face around you again." This wasn't a promise, it was a threat. Anna's heart started to hammer in her chest at how much he was willing to do to protect her. "I love you," Anna blurted out. She froze when she realized what she said. The romance between them, well, since they confessed their feelings to each other, had only been going on for about 3 or so months. Anna couldn't believe she had said that out loud. It was too soon. Anna was convinced that she ruined everything between them. "I love you too," Danny confessed, his cheeks pink. She closed the distance between them, kissing him. The two of them just cuddled on the couch, enjoying each other's presence for a while. When Thea learned how serious the relationship was getting, she told them she was happy for them. The elderly woman was beaming from ear to ear, obviously thrilled that her only grandson had found someone. So Anna had a brief moment where she thought she wasn't good enough for Danny because of her infertility, but Danny dismissed her worries. "There are other things we can do if we ever get to the point where we want to have kids," he told her with a smile. "We can adopt, do surrogacy, foster. As long as I'm with you, that's all that matters." This was enough to bring Anna to tears. Happy tears. It was all she ever wanted to hear from James. Danny never made her feel like she had to be sorry for her inability to have children. Nature had simply made her this way, and it wasn't the fault of anyone. Anna was at a point in her relationship where everything seemed perfect. She couldn't stop herself from falling for Danny, even if she tried. He was unlike any person she had ever met. It was still in a fragile place, and eventually, the honeymoon period would vanish. But it didn't seem like a bad thing in this case. This would give her more clarity about the entire relationship. Unlike with James, where she felt like something was very wrong between the two of them once the honeymoon period wore off. All she could do was just hope that everything was going to work out, which she was pretty sure it was. But, as they like to say, all good things must come to an end. Anna never thought she would see James again. She thought that he would just stay away from her, especially after the divorce was final. However, he was more of an idiot than she realized, because one day, while she was working on something inside the house, a familiar car pulled into her driveway. Her heart started to beat in her chest. Danny was upstairs working on an issue in the bathroom. Maybe if she went out and talked with James, she would be able to get him out of here without there being any issues. With her heart beating in her chest, Anna stepped outside. "Anna!" James cried, rushing towards her. "I can't believe I finally found you. Do you know how long I've been looking for you?" "Yes," Anna replied coldly. "My lawyer Gina kept me updated." James smiled awkwardly. "Anna, I know I signed the divorce papers, but I only did it because I didn't want to drag it out for you any longer than necessary. I still love you and want to make this work." "Are you kidding me?" "Anna, why would I come all the way out here knowing all the crappy things I've done to you and beg for your forgiveness?" Anna swallowed. "I know you wanted to get rid of me, James." He blinked. "What?" "I overheard you and your parents talking about getting rid of me. You said the cruise would be a great way to make my death look like an accident." Suddenly, James's face shifted into something that made her take a step back. "Anna, don't be silly. We weren't serious. I was just trying to placate my parents, but I assure you I would never hurt you. I apologize for the cheating, but I won't apologize for anything else." "I don't want your apologies, James. What you need to do is leave and get the heck off my property." He narrowed his eyes. "I will do no such thing." "Anna," Danny called out from the porch, "who do we have here?" She gasped, looking over her shoulder. "Danny. This is my ex-husband, James. James. This is Danny." Danny walked right over to them and took James's hand without asking. "I'm the boyfriend," he said simply. Anna watched as Danny kept James's hand in a tight grip. He must have been squeezing hard enough to hurt him because James's face twisted into pain. Between the handshake and the look in Danny's eyes, her ex-husband must have gotten spooked because he tried to yank his hand away several times before Danny finally let go. Danny smiled, wrapping an arm around Anna. "I trust we won't be seeing you again." James lowered his eyes. "No, you won't. I just wanted to make sure Anna was happy." "You can see that she is," Danny said with a smile. "So, it's best you take your leave." She had never seen her ex-husband move that fast. He practically ran back to the car and then drove off. Anna blinked. "I actually feel like I've seen the last of him." "If he knows what's good for him, he won't come back and bother you," Danny warned. She pulled Danny down for a kiss, relishing in the love that was pouring from him. "I love you." He chuckled. "I love you too." It had taken Anna a long time to find true happiness, but now that it was here, she wasn't going to let it go for any reason. She was going to cherish it until the end of time. Not long after Danny proposed to her, it was a simple yet profoundly sincere moment, surrounded by the natural beauty of the open field near their home. Anna, moved beyond words, accepted with tears of joy streaming down her face. Their wedding, held a few months later, was a heartfelt celebration with close friends and family, filled with laughter, dancing, and the promise of a future filled with love and companionship. A few months later, it was a special day for the family, though Anna was yet to discover just how special. Danny, already wide awake and bubbling with anticipation, gently nudged her awake with a soft kiss on her forehead. "Morning, love," Danny whispered, his eyes twinkling with excitement. "Get dressed. I've got a surprise for you." Anna, still groggy with sleep, smiled and stretched. "A surprise? On a day like this?" "Yes. And trust me, you're going to love it," Danny assured her, his voice filled with a warmth that eased her into the day. They drove into town under the clear blue sky, the air crisp and filled with the promise of new beginnings. Danny held her hand throughout the drive, a silent reassurance that whatever the day held, they were in it together. As they pulled up in front of a charming little office adorned with cheerful blooms, Anna looked at Danny, a question in her eyes. "We're here to see someone very special," Danny explained, squeezing her hand. "An adoption specialist." The words hit Anna like a gentle wave, overwhelming yet filled with relief. Tears welled up in her eyes as the weight of her unspoken hopes and hidden fears suddenly found acknowledgement. She hugged Danny tightly, her heart swelling with gratitude for his understanding and love. "Thank you," she whispered into his shoulder. "This means everything to me." The meeting with the specialist was warm and informative, filling them with hope and excitement for the future. However, just as they were deep in discussion about the possibilities, Anna felt a sudden wave of nausea. Excusing herself, she rushed to the bathroom, leaving a concerned Danny behind. After a few tense minutes, Anna emerged, pale, but trying to smile. "I'm sorry. I think I ate something off," she murmured, leaning into Danny for support. "It's okay, love. Let's get you home," Danny replied, his brows furrowed with concern. However, over the next few days, Anna's mysterious illness persisted. Thea, ever observant and wise, finally spoke up one morning after witnessing Anna struggle yet again. "Anna, dear, this reminds me of early mornings decades ago," Thea said softly, a knowing look in her eyes. "I think you might be pregnant." Anna felt her heart skip a beat. Pregnant. The possibility had seemed so distant, so unreachable. As the realization dawned, both joy and disbelief danced in her eyes. Could life really be opening this new door just as they were knocking on another? The thought was overwhelming. A miraculous twist in their journey together, one that might just lead them down an unexpected yet joyous path. And just like that, against all odds and previous diagnoses, Anna found herself carrying a new life within her. Despite being deemed infertile, she experienced the joy and wonder of pregnancy, a journey that filled both her and Danny with a blend of awe and gratitude. 9 months later, they welcomed their baby boy, Jack, into the world. His arrival marked the beginning of an absolutely happy and new chapter in their lives, one brimming with love, discovery, and the endless possibilities.